Alright guys, so I just watched Mercy Black for the first time, which was a Netflix original that was released last night. Again, I knew nothing about it because, of course, like most Netflix releases, they just pop up, and I enjoy that a lot. I really do enjoy that they do that with a lot of these movies that get a second life, I guess you could say, because they wouldn't have worked in theaters. And this one feels like a movie that wouldn't have lasted long in the theaters. Really didn't feel like this would have worked in a movie theater. I mean, it's a theatrical movie. It is. There's some very cool theatrical things about it. There's honestly one really incredible shot in this movie that is kind of sad that it's in this movie because this movie I think is fine. It's not great, but there's this incredible cinematic shot of this character, like of her in the side view mirror. It's like a camera's installed next to it, so it's her looking through the side view mirror, and it's actually really incredible. Like, it is an incredibly cinematic moment in the movie. But this movie overall, honestly, I think this is just okay. This one was just a fine, average horror movie. But I will get to the similarities to another couple of horror movies that this is kind of doing the same thing, but better, even though this movie's just fine. So there are positives about this, but there's also, to me, a couple negatives. Like, there's this one character who's obviously so annoying that you just want to get up, like, you want this character to not be in the movie, and it's really horrible whenever this character's on screen because this character is just so obnoxious. And also, my other negative is that they have really apparent dumb jump scares, and it's, to me, it's not like you're trying. Like, in terms of jump scares, they're so cheap, so ineffective. It's just a loud noise, and then boom, something happens. In this one, it's not like throughout the whole movie, but whenever it happens, it made it worse because there were only a couple times it happened. So I really didn't like the jump scares in this movie. They didn't work at all. And jump scares can be done well in movies, just not in this one. Now, this one, I'm going to talk about these movies, refer to these movies that are very similar to this movie. Now, this one is very similar to something like Slender Man that came out last year, or The Bye-Bye Man, which came out the year before. Two movies about this kind of supernatural being that, like, nobody wants to hear its name. They don't want to bring it up because it'll cause it to, like, kind of wreak havoc again. And it reminded me so much of Slender Man and The Bye-Bye Man, but honestly did a better job at being a competent movie, like, as opposed to the Slender Man movie or The Bye-Bye Man. It is more of a competent, better made movie, but it's still just an okay movie. It's not great, but it's, at least in terms of positives for that, like, I like how this is a way better version of those two movies, because I thought those two movies were terrible. Really terrible. And I really like the idea of, even though this isn't new, I like the idea that this main character, like, it starts out where it's past this horrific moment in her life when she was a kid, and, like, it keeps showing flash cuts to what happened when she was a kid, and it's not fully revealed until close to the end of the movie. And I like how they integrated that into the movie. Like, that was actually really well done, because it did a good job of building up the tension and building up this character who you don't know the full story to. It's just a mystery, but I really like that a lot. And there was a great reveal at the end that I honestly should have noticed. It was kind of an obvious one, but even though I didn't notice it, I like that I didn't, because then it was like, oh, that's cool. It's a big surprise. And also, I like the fact that, well, I like and dislike this. Like, again, without spoilers, the thing in this movie is kind of like a supernatural-like occurrence, and the way that they play that, it's kind of like, is it or isn't it? Like, it does a thing where, like, it tries to have both with, like, I guess I can't really spoil it, but it tries to have both in terms of, like, being, is this really supernatural? What is this thing? And, like, it has two different sides to it, but it just sidesteps it in a way where it's like, it doesn't feel like it works great. Like, it's fine. I just got kind of confused on what this thing really is. Like, what are they trying to do? I felt like they purposely didn't make an answer to that, but it made it kind of seem obvious, like a obvious cop out. Like, what is this thing? Is it Matt? Is it like a real ghost? Like, what is this? So I did think that was really weird, but also the positive to that too though was that I did liked how it kind of did play the expectation of like what this story is, and again it won't make sense to you unless you watch the movie. But for me, my like in total for this review, I'd say that this one is really just fine. It's average. There's a couple things that are okay about it. There's a couple things that aren't great about it. Honestly, the biggest positive I can give this movie is that it's a better version of Slender Man or The Bye Bye Man. Like, it's a way better version of those two really bad movies, in my opinion. So, I did actually enjoy parts of this, but then parts of it I was just kind of like, this is just kind of dull and kind of boring. It wasn't, and it's one of those movies where like it's not the type of horror that I like to watch, like the supernatural type. There's some that are done fantastically, but this one is just okay. Like, it's average. There's nothing special or really unique about it. So overall, this one was just fine for me personally. And tell me down below if you see this movie and what do you think about it. And thank you guys so much for watching.